everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Hey, everybody, it's Thursday. It is the last day of the first half of 2022. It is June 30th. How did we get here so fast? Man, this year is flying by, but we usually say that every year. But why don't we close out the first half of the month with an incredible band all the way from the United Kingdom? Yeah, you guys like metalcore? You fans of Beartooth? This is going to be a band you're definitely going to want to get into. But before we get started, let me talk about support for this podcast. So support for the Chord Progression Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels or balls. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle, and that bundle includes a couple of different things, such as some shave mats so you don't end up getting that hair everywhere, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, which will make sure you know your date's not going to be like, oh my god, why you got hair growing out of there? Yeah, it's got that, take care of that for you as well. The Crop Reviver, which is like this ball turn that makes your balls feel so fresh. The anti-chafing ball deodorant called the Crop Preserver. I use this stuff consistently to help out with chafing from running, biking, going to concerts, just sweating. I got big freaking legs. So yeah, you're not going to want to miss out on that because it does wonders to make sure that you don't chafe. So it comes that along with the brand new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. Oh yeah, it is waterproof. It has this advanced skin safe technology to make sure that it reduces the amount of accidents that you might have, reduce the amount of nicks. I've used it to shave down there, and let me tell you, it is the smoothest, easiest shave I've had down there ever with this thing. Also, you want to know why it's also cool? Boom, look at that right there. 400K LED spotlight makes it a precise shave, and trust me, you want to be precise on this stuff. It's your family jewels. You want to take care of them, right? I mean, that's where Manscaped comes in. Help you protect those family jewels. And of course, what their paper says, we save balls. These are actually the shave mats too. They come in like newspaper style. I mean, come on. They tell you right there on the Manscaped Daily News. We save balls. More than around 4 million men use Manscaped. That's like 8 million balls right there. 2 of them belong to me. I know what I'm talking about, everybody. So trust me, Manscaped's the way to go for your best below the belt care and grooming. And we have an exclusive offer for you through Manscaped. 20% off your entire order and free worldwide shipping with the code CPP at manscaped.com. The link and the promo code are in the description of this podcast for you to check out as well. So go check it out and make sure your boys, your family jewels are cared for. We are also sponsoring the When We Were Hungry Music Festival on October 20th and 21st, 2022, let me reiterate that, in Viva Las Vegas. Yes, that's Nevada. Yes, turning memes into dreams, pancakes in the pit. What was once a meme, making fun of the When We Were Young festival, turned to a whole full-fledged festival on October 20th and 21st. And yes, we are sponsoring it. Back in April, we had Will and Mal from the festival on the podcast talk all about it. And yeah, you're going to want to go there, and tickets are on sale now at whenwewerehungry.com. Or was it whenwewerehungry.com? I know I've already got like down there. It's like, on the bottom of the video, you can see where it is, but let me make sure I actually get the right whenwewerehungryfestival.com. Yeah, go there, buy your tickets, because a lot of great bands on the bill, including bands that have been on the podcast, such as Along Came a Spider, Saving Vice, Modern Day Escape. Who am I missing? I know I'm missing Outlier, Palisades, Varsity. I feel like I'm missing one, and whoever I'm missing, I am sorry. Blank in my mind right now, but go and check out all those bands. Plus, you can module us in the pit with pancakes. So go get your tickets now. The link for whenwewerehungryfestival.com is the description of the podcast. So all you have to do is click on the link, go get your tickets, and I will see you in Viva Las Vegas on October 20th, 21st of 2022. Now to our feature presentation. So this fun band, this metalcore band from the UK, is called We Struck Gold. Their brand new EP, Feel Nothing, released on June 17th of 2022, which is about 2 weeks ago since this podcast. And Let me tell you, this podcast is absolutely great. Some funny stories, including Scott getting headbutted right like before our pit even started, how they bring the energy to their shows, what happened to them during the pandemic, and what really brought Feel Nothing into the foray. And then more funny stories as well, because come on. It ain't the Chord Progression Podcast if there's no funny stories, let's be honest. Plus, this is going to be a band you're really going to want to get into, because if you're a fan of the band Beartooth, ooh, you're going to like We Struck Gold. Doesn't sound the same, but that emotion, oh yeah, you're going to recognize it. So are you guys ready to find all about We Struck Gold? This is going to be an episode where you struck gold. Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. I recently had an email come across my good old email chain. It said, hey, check out this band. They're from England. They play metalcore. You might like them. And I thought, England? Metalcore? Okay, this seems like it's right up my alley. They have a brand new EP, which will be out by the time this podcast releases, called Feel Nothing. It'll be out on June 17th, so go and listen to it right after the end of this episode. But let's talk to the band all about it, and let me tell you, I'm excited for this one. So please welcome Omar, Jesse, Scott, Mitch, and Ayrton from the band We Struck Gold, the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Oh yeah!
That might be the best way to open up, just, oh yeah! I might have to go like a little bit more of like a Randy Savage, like, ooh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, guys, I mean, how's everything going in your world right now over in the UK? How's everything been going on? And, well, with the release of the new EP, just how's life?
It's been good, but it's been strange because we've been quiet for the last 2 years of COVID. So it's interesting seeing it all come back to life again. So it's slowly getting there, but yeah, it's just rolling with the punches at the minute.
Pretty much, exactly. I mean, of course, with everything with COVID, I mean, every band pretty much had like a time where okay, everyone kind of got shut down, like other bands were, you know, some bands broke up, some bands kept making music. You guys seem like you took the route that I would, as you say, smart route, kept making music, kept grinding at it, and now all of a sudden, bing, bang, boom, back out to it, releasing singles with the new EP. Everything seems to be going well on your end, so gotta say, pretty happy about that from my end. After, you know, finding out the band and listening to music, I'm just like, now this is some good shit.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. It's been good. Like, we spent 2 years, you've got nothing to do, you might as well make music. So you only be sitting home watching Netflix otherwise, you know, so make some good music.
There's only enough times you can watch like the Tiger King documentary or the Last Dance documentary with Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls, or whatever weird Netflix dating reality show your girlfriend might have made you want to watch. One or the other, there's only so much of that you can bear, so why not make music in the process as well, so that when, you know, the pandemic ended up cracking, when all of a sudden the restrictions were going away and live music was coming back, you guys were ready to attack that at every instance that you possibly could.
Yeah, man, it's like... It's still trying to grind it now, but obviously it's because everything's been backlogged so much. Like the last year, the bands that should have been playing the year previous are sort of coming through, so it's a bit challenging at times, but like I say, we're slowly getting there.
So, like, what challenges have you guys seen from that with, you know, like you just said, a lot of the bands, you know, that were supposed to be playing like in 2020 or in 2021, now it's like they're playing a lot of those shows, a lot of those tours, a lot of those festivals this year. So what kind of challenges have you guys seen when it comes to getting, you know, playing in some of these live settings, playing some of these live circuits and doing all of that?
Say it's mostly the festivals because we only started releasing new music sort of at the start of this year. So with the backlog and then obviously being sort of new band on the scene, they've already organised most of the lineup. So I'd say that's the biggest challenge that we faced so far.
So yeah, well, like Omar said, a lot of our stuff we come out at the beginning of the year. And everyone had their stuff released probably just before Christmas, so they've had a couple of months for everyone to sort of sit on it and listen to it and stuff. So they've been ready for these festivals. We're still fresh this year with it as such. So that's the biggest challenge, like Omar said.
Now, when it came to releasing this stuff this year, was this kind of like more of a calculated move for you guys to release it middle of 2022 to prepare yourself for the second half of the year along with 2023 for festival season? Or something where you guys were continually working on this stuff where you want to make sure that it was as good as it possibly could be and ready for, you know, for the fans to listen to and to really get into around this time? You just didn't want to, you know, push it to be out in like 2021 if it wasn't ready.
It's a bit hit or miss, really. It's like we sort of planned it in stages because we don't know which way it's going to go because it's all up in the air still at the moment as far as the gigs go. So we sort of try to get some type of structure. We got some sort of traction and traffic going at the minute, but it's just playing it by ear at the minute. But everything we have heard and people have reacted well to the music, so we just let the music do the speaking at the minute.
And I'll say at a certain time, I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to have to do, because when it comes to a band, especially you guys, coming up and growing and trying to gain that influence, of course, the thing that's going to have to stand out the most is the music more than anything else, because we've seen a lot of other bands, I've seen a lot of other artists as well, where it's like they focus more and sometimes on the social side of things or more on the image side of things. And then it's like, okay, that brings you in, but all of a sudden you listen to the music and sometimes you're just not connecting with it. You're not connecting, persona one with the actual product. But if you can just listen to the actual product, and all of a sudden now you get to see where the personas and where all the entire, personality of the band really comes into that on more of a social setting. But the fact of the matter is you got in with the most important piece, which is the music at that front, especially from a fan's perspective.
Well, that's it. If you're not going to listen to a band just to look at them, it's all about the music. And if the music's not good and the image is good, it's all got to go together. But first and foremost, like you said, is the music.
We have tried to focus on all of that, though, like our image and socials and that, a bit more this year, aren't we?
Yeah, it was a bit, you could say, messy beforehand, just no sort of structure in that regard. But yeah, we've sort of went back to the drawing board. This is all happening last year, all behind the scenes, as well as like making music in the studio. So yeah, now you're just seeing, I guess, months and months of planning and pulling hairs.
Pulling hairs, we're going to hear me in a second walk.
Yeah, you guys pulled so many hairs. I mean, Scott's basically bald at this point. So, I mean, I'm not sure who's going to go next. Is it going to be up to Mitch next if we start pulling his hairs? I don't know. I'm just taking a guess at it.
No, it's taking me longer to wash my face every day. It's going further back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have to save a lot on shampoo then.
Well, yeah, I just have to scrub further down now. Just don't get the
Oh, that's good shit. But like, even when you're talking about the social stuff as well, of course, that's going to be another piece of it. But, refocusing in on that and bringing a different perspective to it, especially with, how people consume music and how people are consuming, a band's whole experience. Because I've seen a lot of bands, they're starting to put out different things when it comes to social media, really connect kind of the image and the music all together and really make it a place where people can start to come and get to know the band more. That's going to be an important step to it. But of course, the core that crux is the music going to be the thing that brings you in? Because that's the thing that keeps you there and keeps you to stay, because that's the product that's out there. Think of a band like Gwar, for instance, where I listen to their music and I'm just like, nah, this music really isn't for me. So I'm not going to go out of my way to listen to Gwar. But it's like their image and their stage setting is just so absolutely ridiculous, where it's like if they're coming to town, I'm like, I'm going to see that for the experience, but there's not really any way I'm listening to the music outside of that. So if their music really connected on that same level and the stage show was an absolutely incredible, just like overall arching thing, then it's something where I want to listen to this band all the time. I want to see this band every time they come through, and I want to, be entrenched with everything this band has to offer. Similar to like Ice Nine Kills is a perfect example of that, with good music, just an insane stage presence and just everything around there. So if you guys are able to, bring some of that kind of perspective, where the great music that you have, which of course I have listened to it once I got that email, I'm just like, okay, we got to do this because my God, this music is incredible. Mixing it with the social aspect of it, mixing it with the stage setting, putting this in all one big giant concoction, and out comes We Struck Gold. I mean, come on, you're going to have something where, over time, you're going to start going from, where you guys are playing out. All of a sudden, you guys will be doing festivals and tours all over Europe. You're going to be coming over to the U.S. or going to Australia playing, and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, we need to keep listening to this. And anytime they come through, we got to see this live at least twice.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of bands these days, it's online, or it's very rare you get the whole packages. When it's trying to capture that these days, it's quite hard. But you got a lot of bedroom musicians as well. They're really good on the computer, but you watch them live, it's like, what the fuck is this shit? Am I allowed to swear? Am I allowed to swear? Don't know to swear.
Oh, you're absolutely allowed to fucking swear. I don't give a shit.
Bugger. Yeah, but yeah, it's like trying to get the whole package together. That's what this year's about for us. And all the shows we have done, the energy is just, no one say we're stealing crowds or whatever, but we are gaining fans from other crowds because it all goes together as a package. And it's like, say, we've got a lot more to do this year. We're going back in September, isn't it? We're going back in September to do some more tracks. Tiny bit different, but it's say we're as busy as possible, trying to keep it busy. And like, if the online presence is good and it keeps going, it's just the festivals we want to try and aim for now.
Yeah, and when you're able to get to those festivals too, you're able to bring people in through the music, you're able to bring people in through the socials, you're able to bring people in through, the shows that you're doing and what other bands are on the bill, and people are going to be there, to come to see those bands when they leave. You want them leaving remembering you guys and having that positive experience. But then when you put it all into a festival setting, it's like that's the opportunity when you got maybe 25, 30 minutes up on stage. You have 25 or 30 minutes to get the most amount of people to show up at your guys' stage to watch your guys' set, and you have that same 25 and 30 minutes to not only get them there, but to keep them there, keep them engaged, and keep them just having this positive experience to the point where you're having people that are right up in the front row banging their heads like crazy trying to break down the barricades because they're constantly going back and forth like this trying to break their necks. You got other people sitting around watching just like, this is how I like to see my shows. This is a fun show to watch. I'm feeling the energy. Then you get guys like me who just jump in the mosh pits and go, yeah! And just have a blast. Like, if you're able to create that whole entire arching experience from a festival setting, next thing you know, you go from, a potential where, 500 fans are starting out at your stage and you guys start playing, and by the end of it, that 500 turns to 5,000. I have seen it before and listening to your music. You guys have the music to be able to do that. It's the stage presence that I have not seen yet, so I can't really speak to that. So I got to ask this now. When it comes to your live setting right now, what you're doing, what you've been doing on stage to really create that experience for people so that when they leave that show, no matter who they were there to see, the band that's on their mind is We Struck Gold.
You got to enjoy the music you're playing, because obviously you've got to perform the music, but at the same time, every time I've gone to watch a band, if I can see the drummer or the guitarist or the singer is into what he's doing, that spills over to the crowd. Then I think, because we just enjoy it, the energy's all over the place. Do you know what I mean? And if we're energetic, it's all got to go over to the crowd. Like, I try and throw myself at that drum kit, and the energy comes off me to these boys, so they jump in, and it's just only one way forward then, isn't it? So it's just, there's no point in sitting. Our music's too fast and too enjoyable to say. If you can't do it, you've got to fucking jump around, haven't you?
We've had a lot of good comments in. Well, we've been told a lot of good things from when we played live. Like, even down to, I've been told this a few times as well. Like, the energy and the atmosphere seems to change when we go on. Like, I feel like we're quite fun and it's like a positive, like, come together sort of energy. I just want everyone to just see us having fun and then just get. Okay, it's hard to explain.
Well, it's like he said, no, it's like if he wants to go watch a band, he likes to see the energy. Like, if I'm watching you when you're having fun, I'm gonna have fun. Do you know what I mean? I don't like all this. Oh, I'm macho. We're metal. Oh, I'm not into that no more. I used to be, but I just want to. It's all about the fun, isn't it?
Absolutely. Even from my perspective, it's the shows that I remember the most are the shows that are the most ridiculous, and the one where everyone in the crowd is having a blast, everyone's having fun, and everyone's feeling the music at that exact moment. It was like, recently this year, I saw it was a festival setting. Started to rain, and We Came as Romans went on, played 6 songs, straight bangers all the way through until they had to stop because thunderstorms were coming in. And it actually was thunderstorms that came in, so they actually had to stop it short. But just everyone in the front row was just so into it. Everyone in the back was just banging their heads, just having a great time. And the mosh pit was gigantic. Everyone was running around like little kids at like whatever sport you played in the rain, just like as a kid. It's like, I always want to go to practice because I can't wait to play in the rain. Like, that was the mentality. It's just that kind of positive energy where everyone is into it. That's the thing that people remember the most. So the shows that I remember the most. And if you guys are able to, bring that fun, bring that energy, and be able to create this whole entire different, this whole entire different mood, just all of a sudden, no matter what band is on there, you guys come on, the energy comes up, the amount of fun that people are having come up, the engagement from the crowd is up there as well. That's going to be something where not only are you guys creating that setting, but all the fans are helping to create that setting, and everyone's having a blast. So when everyone goes home that night and goes to work the next morning, everyone's still thinking about We Struck Gold. Everyone's thinking about the fun they had. Everyone's talking about the fun they had, and they're going on and listening to your music, continuing to get that fun coming through. I mean, It's an infectious thing, and once you hit that, it can't be stopped.
Yeah, okay. That was very good, emotional. Yeah. That's the whole idea of it. That's all we try and do. It's like, obviously, it's a hard thing with us. You gotta see us live. It's like, if you like the music online, you like the sort of image we got. Live is a completely different. It's just next level again, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right to be good on recordings. Or that's really sick drums, really sick guitars and vocals, but live, it's different again. It's just turned up to 11 again. So You can't watch a drummer go ape shit on a recording, but when you're watching it after listening to it and seeing the energy from the entire stage, it's even better. And like you say, it's infectious.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, even when it came to listening to music, specifically the song "Done," there was just one band that stuck in my mind. Is like, if you're a fan of this band, if you're a fan of this style of music, you're gonna want to go and listen to this band. But then now connecting it with what you're talking about with your mentality around the live setting, it makes so much more sense. Because every time I've seen this band, the energy level is off the freaking charts, and it's ends up being Beartooth. Like, that was the mentality I was coming from while listening to Done. I'm like, this has this similar like feeling and drive that Beartooth does. So equating kind of like their live setting to maybe what you guys are doing, what your mentality. I mean, just the concept behind it, just creating that energy, creating that passion that's behind there, showing it, and then having the fans get into it as well. You guys, I mean, I've said this good number of times, but it just keeps like getting more and more every time I interview a band from the UK on the podcast. I got to go over to the UK for like a month and see all you guys play live, and I'll probably need to beat up in those pits by the time it's over, but trust me, it's worth it.
It depends if there's any rugby players at the shows. Yes.
Oh boy.
It'll be full of meathead rugby players in the mosh pit, so you might want a helmet for them.
I'd probably get fucked up. I mean, I've had a couple of bad injuries before, but that might take the cake. But you know what? It's a story to tell when I'm, old in a nursing home. Like, I remember when I moshed with those rugby players in England. I got fucked up, sonny.
Okay, brilliant.
I'd be like, I got fucked up, so I'm told. I don't remember. I took a hit to the head, and next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital.
Woke up with a Welsh jersey on, like.
Like, where the hell did I get this from? Honestly, I'd probably be pretty happy about that. Like, where the hell did I get... You know what? I'm not even going to question it. All I know is if I end up in a hospital with a Welsh rugby jersey on, I know I had a good time. I don't know how I ended up there, but I know I had a good time.
To get one in the first place is quite fucking bad these days. So yeah, if you wake up in a hospital, that's a good end.
Hey man, I've had injuries here where it's like maybe I should go to the hospital for that, but I'm like, nah, I'm not paying that money. I'm gonna keep going. I broke my finger in a mosh pit. I'm like, no, we're just popping that thing back in and we're keep going. I don't give a shit what happens. We're gonna keep going.
Oh, you'd be right over here. The hospitals are free. You don't have to pay for anything.
All right, I mean,
that's kind of break your jaw.
Already, it's like I've got like 10 or 11 bands I already have to see over in the UK, at more of like a hometown setting show. Alrighty, we're gonna add We Struck Gold, and then we're making it number 12. Hopefully, maybe later this year or next year, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna show up there for like 2-3 weeks and just try and hit everybody's show and just see what the hell happens. And yeah, may end up with a couple of broken fingers, may end up with a giant like scratch on my face, may end up with a huge cut right above my eyebrow, bleeding all over the place, but all of a sudden I come home and I do a podcast. It's like, was it worth it? Totally fucking worth it, man. Can't wait to do it again.
Just bring a gum shield with it. We'd be fine. It's the teeth we want to look after.
Oh, yeah. And I always think about doing that too. And yeah, I still have yet to go out and buy one of those.
You're taking a gum shield to a mosh pit. Something's going to happen. Like, don't you?
I should have had one when I went to go see Kubla Khan and Knocked Loose at the end of April, but decided not to and hope for the best. And, actually didn't get hit too bad. I kept getting like just thrown around though a couple of times because some of those guys, big old just like coming into the pit, and it's just every time I see one of those guys, I'm thinking, all right, my challenge is to try and knock that guy down. We'll see what happens though, and it's just probably not the smartest idea, but you know what? Someone's got to do it.
It was one of the first big metal shows I went to was Slayer, and before it even opened up, I had a skinhead just walked up to me and just, no joke, he just fucking headbutted. The music didn't even start there. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Best or whatever. He just grabbed my head and headbutted me. He was so excited. I was like, oh. I got a ring in here now for my head, but I can't even hear the music. But it was brilliant. One of the better shows I've been to.
Well, did he at least come up when he first headbutted? Did he just yell, fucking Slayer?
Fucking Slayer. That's what you just shouted Slayer and just fucking grabbed me. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
That seems like it, like both terrible, but also just like the most Slayer thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
Explain the Slayer show and fan in one sentence. That's it. It's brilliant.
Well, yeah, even like there was one of the festivals I went to this year. It was like my friends and I. We stopped in a city just to get some food. We were walking around. It's known for like a huge hotbed for country music. So we're walking down like the main strip of all the bars that play the country music, and everyone's wearing cowboy boots, Everyone's dressed up nice, and then we're walking around looking rough. Like I've got a Ice Nine Kill shirt on. Somebody's got a Fit for a King shirt. Someone's got a We Came as Romans shirt on. I think one of my friends wearing a Brand of Sacrifice shirt. And we're like, well, how do we make these people potentially feel a little uncomfortable? I just yelled out, "Fucking Slayer!" And I heard one person like way in the back just yell, "Fucking Slayer!" Yeah!
Everyone knows a Slayer band, man.
Oh God, yeah. And then we're walking around still, and all of a sudden we heard a country version of a Linkin Park song, and we're just like,
what the fuck?
Does that go together?
What the hell? Then there's a Ronan Keaton was a country song originally, wasn't it? One of his songs. She was straight, I don't know, just like my pop music sometimes.
Say just some weird stuff. Well, because I'm going back to the live setting. What other live stuff do you have, guys, coming out? Or set up for the rest of the year, second half of the year? Because I'm curious to see what happens, and also potentially probably trying to figure out, how can I get a cheap flight over the UK to see you guys perform live, and potentially end up in that hospital with a Welsh rugby jersey on, being like, shit. I know it was a good night, but I don't remember it. Like,
yeah.
When are you guys playing? Like, what are some of the biggest shows you got coming up? Like, I want to amp you guys up because I want to potentially come out and see one of these if I can make it out there.
When you play one, I do it. I've been yapping. You're just getting a Welsh accent off me now.
So we got a tour in like 2-3 weeks' time. So we're doing 4 dates in this month, June, and then September we're doing a 5-date tour. Going out with Overthrown and Rosen Bridge, so that'll be cool. It's like a rotating headline tour, so I'm guessing we'll be in Bristol headlining that one. So if you can make it to the UK in September, come to Bristol, come check us out.
Well, I'm going to end up putting it on the calendar, and I mean, I'll put it this way, I got to find a way to make some more money, but hopefully some of these sponsorship money start coming through a little bit more than they have been, so then all of a sudden it's like, yep, I'm flying out there, I'm paying this with my ball money. Yep, I said my ball money.
Oh, you got old Sterling spoon while you're over here to keep a couple of quid.
There we go. I just make money somehow. I mean, at least so that I can just start going traveling around all these places, seeing all these bands I want to see perform live, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's wake up. It's be like wake up, go do some work for my stuff or whatnot, go enjoy whatever city I'm in, go see some band play live, see you guys live, see any of the band I've had on the podcast live, have a couple of drinks with them afterwards, and then blurry things happen in between there, and then I wake up somewhere and just be like, what the hell happened between the end of the show and now? Doesn't matter, but I'm pretty sure I had a good time, and then, try and piece it together like The Hangover.
It's a bit different over here. Have you ever been to the UK?
I have never been to the UK.
It's a completely different drinking environment than the States.
How so? Because I'm curious, man.
Well, if you was to go out with your friends for like a quiet evening, what would that consist of to you? And I'll explain ours.
So, a quiet evening.
Well, like say you're gonna have a drink, you're gonna get messy, but what would your night consist of on a typical day?
So if it was like a typical, our friends are like, oh, let's go out, let's have some fun. It'd be wherever city we're in. If I'm like in my hometown in Milwaukee, like go downtown and just like go bar hopping between each one, and whatever the hell happens. Like have a drink here. Okay, this bar is not really going anywhere, or the music's not that good, or he doesn't have the prettiest girls over here that we want to see. Okay, go to the next one and keep going until we find one we like, and then stay there until bar closes, and then basically at that point see what happens and head home, and probably have anywhere between depending upon how you're feeling. Sometimes I've gone out and I've had maybe just 3 drinks, not that much. Sometimes I've had around 12. It all depends upon how the vibe is going. So that's kind of like
12 drinks. That's not even before we've left the house. Like we would get no bullshit. It's no shit, is it? We get a crate of beer. Yeah. Like I've gone out before now with the boys. We've like a crate each, bottle of Jack, Jägermeister, then we go out to town. Yeah. So that's the start of the night. Do you know what I mean? So
alcohol prices here, you kind of have to.
Yeah, it's more expensive. Yeah. You got a pre-drink, yeah. Well, yeah, you got 12 drinks. We probably drank that before it's even started getting dark. Like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, well, I'll put it this way too. It's like when I was in college, like that's kind of what would happen though, is we would just like before going out, we would start drinking in our apartment, playing Mario Kart, don't drink and drive, just seeing what would happen there. Take down like a case of beer, and then by the time we got through that case of beer, it's like, well, we just started to keep drinking. We just kept playing Mario Kart. Then it was like 1:30 in the morning. We realized that we had not gone out because we were having too much fun being stupid by ourselves, and we're like, well, fuck it, we'll just keep doing this then until like 3-4 in the morning. Just yeah, I mean, that's what I used to do, and now that was like 6 years ago, where my drinking tolerance definitely has decreased because just stopped drinking as much, plus my concert intake has definitely increased, and I'm not as big into drinking at shows. If I'm going to be thrown around in a mosh pit, last thing I want is all of a sudden to get hit in the gut and have, pay like $6 for a beer, and then have a couple of beers and all of a sudden have $20 worth of beer come up on me because some dude hit me real hard, and all of a sudden, bleh, don't want that.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, if I'm coming over to see some shows in the UK and all of a sudden go to drink with you guys, I definitely got to get that tolerance up somehow. Just all right, that's it. Every morning, like Rocky would crack the eggs in the glass and start drinking. I'm just gonna start pouring myself shots of tequila in the morning already.
Just eggs and tequila.
Eggs and tequila. I mean, that does seem like a pretty good breakfast. It's balanced.
It's an alcoholic's breakfast, definitely. Just don't fry it.
Why would you fry tequila though? I mean, that just doesn't sound good.
We could do the suicide shots. You do them out there? Suicide shots?
Probably, but
you squeeze a lemon in the eye, you do a line of salt, and then you drink the tequila.
No.
Have you ever done that? No, yeah.
I've never heard that. It's always, it's always like put the salt down, let the salt, take the shot of tequila, squeeze the lime, you're good to go. I've never heard of it, lime up here, salt in here.
That's just a Welsh thing then. Sorry, just a fuck up Welsh thing.
Well, you know what? I'll do this. I'll try and get my brother to do it because, well, that's kind of his whole entire MO. He manages a bar, for God's sake. So I'll be like, all right, we're doing suicide shots. If he doesn't know what that is, and be like, let me tell you what it is. And I'll literally just show him this and be like, this is what we're doing.
I would send some videos of the boys doing it. You can see how fucked up we get.
I feel like
back to a girl like this. Because you got salt in your nose and lemon in the eye. You look like something from the Goonies.
Just look like sloth. Just. It's like all of a sudden, are you okay? And you're gonna just go, hey, you guys.
That's me at the end of a night anyway. Without doing that.
Well, shit. Okay, now I gotta find a way to be able to make myself see that, where all of a sudden somehow be able to get to a point where I still have some sort of conscious memory, so I can see you at the end of the night going all sloth from the Goonies, walking around town trying to find your way home.
Just get a GoPro cap. It'll be fine.
Be the weird guy walking into the bar. All of a sudden, it's like, what's that on your head? It's a GoPro cam. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm just gonna point at you guys and just go, I'm filming content for them today.
Just turn it off before you go to the toilet.
It's like, alrighty, no one needs to see that. And then all of a sudden come back out, just turn it back on and just do a big, that felt good. Or just make some like really ridiculous claims. It's like, oh man, that was a big one there, wasn't it? And all of a sudden you were in there for 5 seconds. Sometimes it's quick. Well, jumping a little bit more back towards the music and, outside of, GoPros and going to the bathroom, because you guys do have the new EP, Feel Nothing, again, out on June 17th. So if you're listening to this, when it comes out, the EP's already out. So go and take a listen to it. But when it came to this EP, when it came to writing it, what was the full-on inspiration behind this EP, behind the music, behind the writing style?
Oh, go on. Tell him the exact situation of what happened, because you got stuck overseas.
Oh,
so it was all mental. Absolute chaos. Go on.
Started. So
chaos.
We had planned to go into the studio at the start of just 2020. And I went on a 2-3 week holiday and then ended up getting stuck out the country for 11 months. So yeah, these two managed to carry on writing in that time whilst I was stuck over there and actually kept productive. I'll let them tell you about that.
How long did you say you got stuck in that other country for?
11 months.
COVID hit, didn't it? So he went out on the holiday and then COVID hit and he was stuck in Oman She just basically sat on the beaches writing lyrics and melodies while me and Jesse was in the studio writing the music.
That's insane that all of a sudden, so you're going to go on holiday for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and all of a sudden, nope, you're going to be stuck in that country for a year now thanks to a virus.
I had like an album's worth of content practiced and written, and I hadn't even met my singer in person yet. It was crazy. Fucked up.
Oh my God. Now that is some ridiculous shit. That is just insane.
It was mad. It's like all the regulations and stuff, because Wales and England, you got the bridge. You're not meant to travel, but this is work. So I could travel for work. So I would spend like most of the days down here with Jesse, just like 13 songs, 15 songs.
Oh, well, yeah.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, it was loads of songs.
So I learned them at home. I'd come here and just jam them for like 6-8 hours a day, 3-4 days a week. Just sort of like pick the best ones, and then Omar would write all the lyrics. And by the time he came home, it was crazy. We had the songs written on the computer. We never played live together, and it sounded just as good, if not better. Or it sounded better live again. It's fucking crazy trying to write like that, but it did work.
Yeah.
If it works, it works. I mean, there's times where, people put stuff together. It's like, it has to be through this process, and it doesn't sound the best. But if it just ends up working for you guys and it ends up sounding as good as it does, and you think it sounds as best as possible, just the way you guys went about it, then hell, you guys did the right fucking thing. I mean, there's no way like you can go around that.
That's it. No, just as it's grinding it. It was just so disheartening with everything that went on with COVID. It's just, you didn't know if music was going to come back. And I get a lot of the lyrics Omar was writing was a lot of influence was from those 2 years of the bullshit. So yeah, it's a lot of emotion there, isn't there, buddy? Yeah.
So Omar, to you specifically, like, what was it like writing those lyrics, especially, in that situation where you're stuck in a different country for almost a year, can't even, the only time you're able to contact the band and really, listen to any of the music that's being written or, getting, any kind of collaboration out with them, of course, is through a lot of the ways that people have been doing during the pandemic, any online method, any way of file transfer through the internet. But what was it like being in that position so far away and just being stuck in that country and not able to return back to, your home here in the UK? Without just all that going on? I mean, what was the inspiration like, and what was that writing style like for you when it came to the lyrics?
Well, it was really difficult time. It sounds quite nice to, it's obviously like a hot country, but it was actually really difficult. The thing that made it worse was, I was stuck there for 11 months. Because the reason I was stuck there is the airport closed initially, and then my flights kept getting cancelled. So if someone had told me as soon as they closed the airport that that's it, I'm stuck here for 11 months, then I'll be able to be like quite productive and just get on with stuff, understanding that 11 months. But it was like, they closed the airport and they said, it'll only be a few weeks. So my flight got cancelled and then rebooked. And then just like a few days before that, the airport wasn't open. So then they rebooked for another flight, cancelled that one. And it just kept happening. The airport opened, but then British Airways, the airline, kept cancelling my flight. So I think it was like 8 or 9 cancelled flights over that 11 months. So there's a lot of up and downs. There's a lot of stuff that I wish I got on with, but when you only have like a couple of weeks, it's like pointless doing. The mix of all of that, and then obviously being stuck in a different country, I can't work. So there goes a lot of money. There's so much, and even being away from like family and friends, that's also really difficult. It all plays into the writing process of the lyrics. But then I guess with our lyrics, there's always a sort of positive outlook, however bleak it might be. So in this case, there was a positive outcome, so it all tied in nicely.
It ended up being a positive outcome, especially with the songs you created on this EP and the way everything came out, the way the lyrics came out. But one thing I can understand too is I've gone through a similar situation when it came to a full-time job right after college was just, it's the emotional side of things where you don't know exactly what's going to happen. And it's just like, this could, like you could be going home and the flight could happen within, 3 weeks, but you constantly have that timeline changing. You're not sure exactly what's going to happen. There's always this moving target, and just, having that uncertainty and just having this consistent, letdown of your flight getting canceled, your flight getting rebooked over and over again. I understand the emotional impact that can have. And did that emotional impact really come out strongly in the lyrics that you were writing when you were writing them? Because just kind of thinking about it, I feel like that would have to come out, incredibly powerfully, incredibly strong, just, forefront, just especially because you were living in that and really experiencing that at the moment of writing this stuff.
Yeah, well, even lyrics, a lot of them aren't even based around this sort of subject, but it's just being in that sort of headspace at the time sort of allows you to dig deep, sort of, I guess, write all sorts of different stuff around that sort of frame of mind and those sort of low points, and also the high points as well, incorporating that. Like, what also made it difficult for the entire band was we'd been waiting to go into the studio. We were supposed to go in like quite soon before COVID kicked off, and as soon as I got back from my holiday, but it just all got dragged out. But luckily these guys managed to just like keep going and just learn everything, get everything nailed. Then as soon as I got back, we're straight into the studio. So then, like, vocally, I guess that motion could sort of carry through to the record.
We had a couple of member changes as well in the time, so we were trying guys out. Like I was brand new to the band when COVID happened, because Jesse messaged me on Facebook because they were looking for a drummer. So it was technically only two guys, Omar and Jesse. Jesse was looking for members while he was on holiday. So I came down, it worked. And then we had bassists and guitarists coming through. There was dedication that wasn't there and other priorities. And we got these bad boys now. And we all sort of gelled. And it's very rare you can get a bunch of guys on the same path gelling together. And it's all come together finally again, which is quite good. So
yeah, it's been a lot of hard work for me because I've had to teach so many people all the guitars and bass, and like even when I found Scott, me and he learned 22 songs, I think, when we were jamming. But because we were both not really working because of COVID, it gave us a lot of time. But we'd do 3 days in a row, wouldn't we?
Yeah, you sleep here.
Yeah. Well, I slept here. We're in our practice room now, so I used to sleep here and all sorts just to get as much stuff done as we could. But yeah, COVID was a bit of a
blessing and bullshit, isn't it?
But what was annoying about it for me is the band was sort of like, things were looking better. Like, we were getting shows, like good shows, and like on even just like Spotify numbers, they were all like going up. And then COVID happened. Our drummer at the time, I think COVID sort of kind of like, I don't know, made him. He lost enthusiasm and all that. So then I was like, well, I'm not going to just give up. That's why I found Scott and that. But yeah, everything was going up, and then COVID happened and went down. But now we're going back up now. So hopefully with these releases and like the EP and that, and the new stuff we're recording in September, that I help keep growing it. But I think things with because of COVID, it's just a little bit more difficult at the moment with like getting like the shows and stuff. It's all a bit slower, but hopefully we'll get there.
So you got all the momentum the boys had before COVID, when the band was at, all the members, the previous members was in. It was there. COVID happened, and now it's a brand new band. There's a brand new sound per se, and it's sort of like slowly creeping up and sort of starting from scratch again. But at the same time, we're doing it. I think we're doing an all right job at the minute, but it's at the same time everything's been backlogged so much, and it's just like it's grinding it. And what's the point in if you're not going to try, then what's the point in being in here now and practicing? Right? I mean, you got to be a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you haven't got nothing to aim towards, what are you aiming towards? The fucking hole in the ground. I'm not doing that.
Exactly. And like, just kind of to piggyback on a couple of things that you said, it's just when it came to, you guys with the band, it's like, okay, everything's going to be going good. All of a sudden COVID hits and momentum just completely dies at that point. That happened to so many different bands. That happened to so many people just based off the fact that, again, live music was gone. Any kind of social interaction was gone. And there was like really no end in sight, especially from the beginning, especially over here. It was like 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And it's like, yeah, all of a sudden, it took 2 months before anything possible started to open back up again. And it was like, after 2 months, okay, you might be able to go and finally see your friends and, see your family at that point. Even though a couple of us, kept breaking those rules because, we still wanted to see our family and our friends, me being one of them. And I wanted to go see shows as much as possible and still couldn't do that. I was like, ugh. But what happens with a lot of the people, a lot of bands that I've seen, it's, of course, COVID hits and the momentum just, takes a nosedive. It all depends upon the type of mindset that you have at that moment.
100%.
A lot of the bands in England through COVID, I reckon I've seen about 10 bands just give it in, pack up. Like I think because of they're depressed, miserable. I don't know. And rather than I'm not the sort of person that gives up. I'll just keep going until I'm dead, I reckon. But yeah, so for us, it was like we're just pushing on. I don't want to quit just because of a fucking virus or whatever.
Yeah, instead of seeing it as like this massive hindrance or this massive, obstacle that has to be overcome, you looked as an opportunity as what can we do with this in order to come back from this and build back up, and how can we take this and make this our own, especially with the situation that you're in. Different members, all of a sudden here comes Scott, playing drums for the band and trying to get everything up to speed on there, writing these new songs, having Omar in a completely different country, writing lyrics in a completely different, space and time and different emotions that are working within that, along with the same emotion of this whole entire thing with COVID. On top of that, you're seeing where you're coming from right now, and that momentum is picking back up again, which is fantastic. But a lot of that is to the fact that you took a look at this and you saw it as an obstacle that you could overcome. And you didn't see it as something that was in your way that was like, oh no, okay, we should just pack it up. No. You're not letting this, take you guys down. You're not letting this ruin your goals, dreams, and aspirations. You're seeing this as, what can we do now in order to, find a way to make that momentum stop dipping and pick back up once again, so that when live music does come back, we're on this spot where we are ready to roll with it with new music, like a brand new, energized kind of feel, a new appreciation for what we do with music, and to keep that momentum start to go up. So now you're releasing the new EP, playing live shows, and all of a sudden just going to keep going up and up and up.
Yeah, that's the goal.
That's it, man. It's like a lot of it is online presence as well now, because it's like during COVID, if we'd had everything ready before COVID and we'd released this during COVID, everyone's on their phones, we would have been, do you know what I mean, just constant content. But now everyone's back on it again, and it's all, socials are fucking blowing up. You're back to the challenges again. But like you said, what's the point of being here if you're not wanting to have that end goal? It's just, if you haven't got a light at the end of the tunnel, you ain't gonna have to do it towards. So it's all part of the grind. It's like I've slept in bands and stuff, around bands and all that. Do you know what I mean? I don't look at that like, oh, this is shit. Oh, what's the fucking point of this? I look at that as, I'll look back one day and think, that's fucking, I've done that to get to this. Do you know what I mean? It all has its relevance.
Oh, absolutely. Even on my perspective, too, with the whole entire podcast, I looked at it as, oh, darn, your live music is gone. Everyone's on the shelf. Everyone's, just having to make music on, like, in their houses and able to connect, and live music doesn't seem like it's come back anytime soon. And instead of being, oh, darn, I can't talk about concerts, it's, every band's on the shelf right now. How was they going to promote their music unless if, like, someone like my dumbass is like, hey, you want to talk about all the stuff you're doing? Like, come on. Let's double down on that. And all of a sudden, when I started doing that, it was, I had a couple of bands that maybe had cracked, 10,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, but there were a bunch that were a lot smaller than that. And now it's just like, I'll still do the smaller ones. I'll do the medium-sized ones. I've gotten some bigger ones with over 1 million streams on Spotify before. And it's just like, you know what? Doubling down on that and taking it as an opportunity was the way to go. And all of a sudden now it's just, shit, I'm still happy doing this every step of the way. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. Doesn't matter really to me. It's like, oh, I got to skip out on something that I kind of want to do, but I can talk to a band I really want to talk to. Woo! I'm going to go do that now.
That's it, man. Like that Spotify thing, man. Like, the monthly listeners, we were on with this earlier, weren't we? It's like you can look at the monthly listeners and like we used to have like 10,000 on it, which is it was creeping up.
I think it was like 14 at one point for about a year.
And that was when it was just about to get really busy. And now it's dropped obviously because of COVID. And it's a bit disheartening to look on there now and go, oh, it's down. But can't fucking trust them. The Spotify and all these streaming platforms are raking it in from people like us, lot. So I mean, you can't always look at the numbers and stuff all the time because they're not always the best to do, is it? Because that'll dishearten you, and you fall into that trap.
Oh, I'll say totally understandable. The only reason I bring up those numbers is because when it comes to just like it just is a potential gauge for a couple of different things.
Yeah.
But I was talking with someone recently, and it was, there's a difference between bands that might have, say there's a band that has, let's say 60 to 70,000 monthly listeners on Spotify versus a band that has 10 or 20,000. But if you put them on a stage together, that band that has, 3.5 to 4 times less monthly listeners might be the one that's bringing in 300, 400, 500 people. And the one that has, 70,000 listeners might be bringing in 100 people to the show. There's complete difference when it comes to the number that you have for your monthly listener on Spotify versus, you know, the amount of people that are actually really supporting your music and the amount of people that are listening to it on a consistent basis and are showing up at these live shows because of how much you connect with them. Hell, I'd rather be the one that has that lower, you know, maybe 10 to 20,000, but having a lot of people come to my shows versus, you know, got a good amount of following on, you know, on like Spotify, but I go play a show and it's like no one really shows up. There's definitely a difference there. And in the end, there's going to be that larger group of people is going to end up having a larger influence over time to the point where, you know, oh, I've got like 70,000, you know, monthly listeners at this point. You might have, you know, 400,000. I'm still bringing in 1,000 people a night because people want to see what the hell I have going on.
Yeah, man.
I think the monthly listener thing's a bit of bullshit there as well, though, because a lot of them might be just from playlists, but people will drive to work with a playlist on. Say you get on a big playlist, they might not actually. They might
not get the all.
They're just they're just driving to work. They might not be like listening to like the band. It's just on a playlist. So that monthly listener might not be a fan. It just came on. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these bands, I see bands all of a sudden get like stupid amounts of listeners, but it's only because they're on these big playlists. And then once they get taken off the playlist, the stream, like the listeners plummet. Do you know what I mean? Like we're not on any playlists at the moment, and I think we're just under 6,000 monthly listeners. But I'd rather have 6,000 monthly listeners of people that are listening to us because they want to listen to us, rather than it just because it's on a playlist. Because I don't know, anyone could be listening to anything on a playlist. They could just have it on in the background while they're working out. They're not listening to like your music because they like music just on a playlist. So to me, like having 6,000 monthly listeners which ain't on a playlist is more valuable than like having loads and they're just numbers. They are just numbers, but we all fall into this trap of like numbers and
the social dilemma.
Yeah, it's shit. But
the same with Facebook. It's like I just scroll on Facebook and see loads of bands I like, but I don't always like their pages or like their posts. But our post could have like 100 likes. But about 1,000 to 2,000 people have seen it. It's like if you go by the numbers all the time, you can get disheartened by it, and I think a lot of people do. But you just got to just grind it. It's all part of the grind. This is the experience you've got to go through to appreciate the end goal.
Oh, that is 100% the way to go. Even with like the podcast, well, it's like I'll take a look at the numbers, have to send the numbers to some people, and it's just at times it can seem disheartening. It's like I've been doing this for how long, and the numbers are at this point when I've seen people do it for, you know, less time and their numbers are way larger than mine. But then also I take a look at it and put it in a different perspective where seeing the people that I'm impacting, seeing, you know, the relationships that I've formed, and the fact that every time I get to do this, no matter what happens, whenever I open up the Zoom call and I see that message pop in that whoever is in here is ready to is in the waiting room, waiting to be admitted to the meeting, my energy level goes up. That means more to me than, you know, oh, you've got, you know, this many monthly listeners to your stuff or this many subscribers to your stuff. That's cool and all, whatever, you know, putting that into perspective. But also when it comes to just the fact that, especially with a lot of the music industry, that Spotify monthly listener count has become such that, you know, I still use it as just kind of like as a tool to describe certain instances. But I'll look at it, it's like, yeah, you know, I see bands or I see artists there that have, you know, some of those larger artists, you know, 10 million, you know, monthly listeners. All of a sudden, the artists that I like, oh, you've got like what, you know, a couple 100,000, maybe not even 100,000. So whatever. Yeah. If I like the music, I'm going to go listen to it. I'm not going to listen to it because everyone else, you know, says, oh, you should listen to this. No, if I want to listen to it, I'm going to go fucking listen to it.
Yeah, you can't always trust them, man, because it's that you can buy them now as well. It's been going on for years. You can buy likes, you can buy follows. I'd rather have an organic reach and have like a lot of stuff we're doing at the minute with the marketing side of things. The organic reach, I'd rather that and have real interaction than I'd be paid for 200 more just to look better this month. Fuck that. I'd rather have a real person sharing our stuff with their friends and it just carry on going like a chain. And that's how it all starts.
And not only that, but one other thing that I like to do too sometimes with bands is you see like that massive amount, like, oh, you have a lot of different streams on this one song or a lot of different monthly streams. Go to some of the other platforms and see, you know, other things they're doing, because maybe they're pumping, like with Spotify, maybe so much money is being pumped into one song from Spotify to promote it to a certain curated playlist that people are listening to get that count up. But all of a sudden you go to a different, like, you know, stream platform or like a YouTube channel that they have, and all of a sudden the numbers are just like way, like there's this massive disparity. Now you can start to piece it together a little bit, but you know, if you're gonna have a band like, let's say, you know, monthly listener count, like, you know, let's say it's 6,000, kind of around where you guys, and all of a sudden I go to a music video for you guys, and it's like, you know, from the first, like, you know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, 12 to 13,000 views. All right, there's definitely a connection there where the people that are coming in and listening to this stuff are people that are loving it and coming back consistently to listen to this thing.
That's it, man. Like you said there, you hit the nail on the head. Like our Spotify listens, but then some of the songs you release, you got over 100,000 views. Just fucking, it don't mean fuck all these days. People do listen to it. It's just on the different platforms, they're doing different things. And they're all those were organic as well, because we released them on Dreambound. And they just, their platform, people have listened to it, but we haven't got that many on Spotify, but there's a fucking massive, drastic difference.
Yeah, and it's like you can see where that difference is it's when you can see where that difference is coming in too, because there are some, it's like you can tell the difference is coming in through just, okay, where the payments are going, where the marketing is going, but there's some where you can figure out, okay, this one definitely has more than this one, but why is that? Well, maybe this platform, they're just doing better on this platform. Maybe it's just that, especially like look at YouTube, maybe the visual aspect behind those music videos is really connecting with people, and that's where people want to go and consume that content more. Maybe that's where the connection is. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, if you're able to make that connection, then you can really start to gauge and see, is this band really having the impact that it's having? And for you guys, after listening to music, watching the music videos, and kind of like looking through some of that stuff, I'm like, God damn, these guys are doing it right.
Thank you, man. As it says, it's a grind. It's all learning. It's all learning as we go along.
And that's going to be something where, especially with a lot of the bands that are really starting to gain a huge amount of traction and, anywhere in the rock and metal scene today that I've seen, especially since the pandemic, it's the ones that really took the time to figure out what they wanted to show, where they wanted to work with on social media, online, everywhere that promote their music, but also do it in their very own way, so that the people that are coming in, it's not the playlist. It's like, Jesse, like you said, people have a playlist when they're driving to work or working out, and it becomes white noise. It just becomes something that they're listening to, and there's no connection where I got to go back and listen to this band, or I got to go back and find out what song that was. But if you're making something where people want to be drawn into there, people are coming in on their own, that's going to be something where all of a sudden they're going to look at the song, they're going to remember the name, they're going to remember a specific portion of the song. It's going to be stuck in their head to the point where they're going to go back and watch a music video. They're going to go back and pull, if it's on Spotify, they're going to create their own playlist for themselves and put it on there. And yeah, now you're on someone's personal playlist, but it's something that person knows that song, that person knows where that song is on that playlist, and when it comes up, it's already in their head. It's like, okay, now we're listening to, Giving Up on Giving In by We Struck Gold. I like this song. I already know what it is, and I like listening to it. So now the numbers sort of, will reflect that, but it has more weight to it in the end because it's a consistent listener through and through. It's not just playlist white noise listener.
Yeah, man. I like that analogy, playlist white noise listener.
That's exactly it. White noise. That's what.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's why with my I still go ancient. It's like, oh, you're gonna listen to stuff on a Spotify playlist. Nah, I'm gonna go pull out my old trusty dusty iPod and I'm gonna download it on that bad boy, because I have to either I'm gonna get it myself or I'm gonna have to take the time to actually get that file, pay for it, and bring it on. But you know what? Now it's an investment. Now I'm into the band. Now it's like I'm listening to this thing, and I know when it comes on, give me 5 seconds. I'll be able to click in my mind, what song is this? What band is this? Click in my mind the positive, emotional reaction I have to it, and then just ride with it. But the mindset is there, the consistency is there, and the impact is there.
Yeah. I've been holding a toilet and I need a wee so bad. Fuck.
I hope if he uses the GoPro on his head, I hope he turns it off though for this specific point. We don't need to see any of that.
He wouldn't turn it off.
He would turn it off, and then that you could create some sort of weird, there's some social content for you right there. He doesn't turn it off, and all of a sudden put some I don't know, Baby Shark music behind it. I don't fucking know, but something that people be like, what the? Why does this not make sense, but make sense at the exact same point in time?
Yeah.
I mean, it could work. It all depends upon what your style is, what you want to do with your with promoting the band. But if it's going to be a GoPro on Scott's head while he's going to the bathroom, it could be that. So one other thing when it comes to the release of the EP, of course, I know we're recording this right before the release of the EP comes out, but a little bit of a prediction side of things. What do you predict this EP is going to do for the band throughout the rest of 2022 and beyond?
boys.
Keep us busy first and foremost. Hopefully.
Yeah, I just wanted to get new fans. With the music, I try and make it so it's like emotionally impacting. Even though it's like melodic and emotional, I want it to be like a positive thing. I can't explain it. You know what I mean? I want people to feel something when they listen to the music as well. So when someone's if it's on the playlist and they hear it, I want them to get a feeling.
Sorry, really sorry.
Yeah, like I just want people to get a real feeling and connect to the music. I like to think that the music is emotionally connecting, but in like a positive way. But yeah, a lot of these songs have that vibe and stuff. But yeah, I just want it to go a bit more. Need to go a bit more viral, but it's bloody hard with the algorithms and everything.
Yeah, understandable. But honestly, you guys got the mentality from everything that happened with the pandemic where the momentum went down, and instead of, calling it quits at that because you were here and now it's down here, you said, instead of we're here, now we're down here because of the pandemic, what can we do to bring it back up? The DIY mentality behind that is going to be something where when it comes to continue to grow the band from this EP, and even though, those algorithms can sometimes be, a little bit finicky and be a little bit wonky, you guys will find a way to continue to grow the band and continue to grow that fan base, that strong fan base, not the playlist white noise fan base.
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. Like all the bands when I was growing up, I think I connected with them because the lyrics meant stuff to me and the music moved me. Do you know what I mean? If you connect with people on that sort of wavelength, and the days now it's all social media. It's easy to look online and find someone now. Well, years ago you had to buy a CD and it was buy the DVDs in the shops, but now it's so accessible.
When's the song out on
15th?
We got one of our singles. Well, it's not a single actually. It's the Focus track. The Focus track of the EP we're releasing on Wednesday the 15th, so next week, and that song's Momentum, and we've got a guest vocalist, Jay from Skywalker. I don't know if you've heard of Skywalker.
I haven't at this point.
Well, they're a really good band. He's a really good vocalist as well. But that'll be released on Dreambound on the 15th, so check that out.
Well,
yeah,
you guys are gonna make me check that out, especially because, I'll go back to the song "Done." It was like what I got from that song was just like the same like positive emotion, the same positive feeling of movement that I would get when listening to Beartooth. Of course, like Beartooth, I think Caleb Shoma described it as like high voltage rock and roll. I'm like, that actually makes a lot of sense for their style. And I'm like, listening to you guys, I'm like, it doesn't have that, insane high voltage feel, but it does have that energized feel to it. So that's where it all comes into play. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, well, should I listen to We Struck Gold? Do you like Beartooth? Do you? Because I know a lot of people like Beartooth. I'm one of them. This is going to be something you're going to want to listen to. This is going to be something that you're going to really be able to get into and like, because also with Beartooth, yeah, they go into some dark themes at times, but it all has this positive feeling and positive message behind it of potential like triumph over certain things. Maybe you're not doing so well, triumphing over all of that stuff. Yeah, this is where the positivity comes in. You're going to feed off of that with We Struck Gold. So, yeah, for fans of Beartooth, abso-freaking-lutely.
I think that's what a lot of your lyrics are. It's just uplifting. It's a bit like Killswitch. Killswitch is a perfect example. We listen to Killswitch, it's just positive heavy metal or heavy music. I think a lot of the lyrics, Omar, right? It's all about picking yourself up again. It's just and not giving up, and that's such is life, isn't it? If you're gonna give up and don't go to work or stay at home and watch shit telly, do you know what I mean? You gotta have some type of it is, isn't it? So what's the point in doing anything unless you're gonna have something right?
Let's not do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I was a big, when I was growing up, when I first started playing guitar and stuff, Killswitch Engage was like one of my favourite bands. And like they've got that, like their music's kind of like uplifting, it's heavy, but it's like we can do this, do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's how I always came into this band, with like the uplifting sort of vibe, which is what I want. I want emotion in music, but I don't want to feel sad when I listen to it. But yeah, it's just want to rise up, let's do this, let's beat, I don't know.
I feel like you guys need to go on stage wearing those August Burns Red shirts at the back says angry music for happy people. Like that would definitely fit for you guys.
But a lot of people think that of metal and heavy music.
I'm like,
It's devil worship music. Like, listen to the lyrics. Oh, if you can't listen to it, read the lyrics. It's not all about that. Like, not death metal. You're not from Norway.
Yeah, like August Burns Red's a good example. Killswitch Engage, I mean, that's a prime example too, because you listen to the songs that like really got the popular, like At My Curse and The End of Heartache. It's those songs, I mean, they dive deep into some heavier topics, but I mean, they're like anthemic, uplifting anthems, especially My Curse. And then you listen to stuff that, since Jesse's come back into the band, In Due Time is one of my favorite tracks by them. But then you listen to something that's like, as it's heavy, it's powerful, but also you get to the chorus of The Signal Fire, you have both Jesse and Howard on the track. That is just uplifting as all fucking hell right there.
I get like goosebumps. I remember when I first watched that video when they both come in together, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Like, it's amazing. That song's
I was like, when watching that video, I was like, "Is that Howard there?" And he goes, "No, I can't be." And I watching the video, I was like, "That's fucking sick." They've done full circle with that.
And then right before the pandemic, they were doing a tour. It was August Burns Red. Killswitch was the headliner, but it was August Burns Red and Light the Torch. So, like, all of a sudden, for the end of the show, because Killswitch is headlining, like, Howard Jones would come out and do The End of Heartache and do My Curse. And then the last song, all of a sudden, you see Jesse come out and they close with The Signal Fire. Then the pandemic hit and they canceled that. Like, they had to postpone the whole entire tour for the rest, because they only got to play, like, I think it was like 10 dates. All of a sudden, February and March of 2022, they put it all back together for a whole 6-week run. And I'm just like, there is no fucking way I'm missing this. I literally drove through a freaking snowstorm. I'm like, I have to go and see this show. I don't care. End up getting there right as Light the Torch was going on stage. I'm just like, made it. Wow. And then seeing Howard Jones perform with Killswitch, it was just... this is something where it's like that positive anthemic feel. The way the crowd reacted and how everyone was into it. I mean, that you can't beat a feeling like that. You can't beat a feeling of just the whole entire crowd. Yeah,
it is a community and a family, isn't it? It's like a lot of people that don't like this style of music unless you're into it, you don't get it. It is a community and it's like a family. That's the best way. That's the only way you can describe it. Anyone in rock music are like, oh, fuck that guy. If you've got a guy across the road with a metal t-shirt on, it's like, I'll get on with him. Do you know what I mean? It is like a culture.
Oh God, yeah. You're walking around, all of a sudden, if I see someone wearing like I think there was one time I was walking around, I saw someone wearing a Motionless and white t-shirt, and I had to go up and give that guy a high five because it was just like, dude, what's up? That was it. It was like, it's just so cool to see that stuff like that. And it really is a gigantic family mentality, and even like, being in the pits as much as possible. When the first rule of being in the pit is when someone falls down, you pick them back up, and everyone abides by that rule. Yeah, it seems like absolute chaos in those things, but it's like the most controlled form of chaos you could ever imagine, because one person falls down, here's 10 people rushing over to help that person up, and if that person can't get up, or if that person's hurt, everyone's around that person and trying to get the show to stop so we can get that person the attention they need.
You say that, I remember going to the Download Festival with one of my mates. He just got into metal, so he's like all fresh. So we took him to his first festival, and he's a big Rugby Valleys boy, so it was like he's a bit out there. And one of the boys like, where's Dickie? He's like, oh, he's in the pit. And he's in the pit. Fucking days, like, he's not meant to look for people to fucking punch, dude. He's like, oh, he thought it was like, I was like, no, it's not. It's trying to teach him that. It's like he did not get it when he first met it. So, like actively looking for a fight.
It's like, no, you're not trying to actively fight someone in the pit. What you're just trying to have a good time smashing each other, pushing people around, going shoulder to shoulder with people. The last thing we want to do is crowd kill, because if all of a sudden there are crowd killers in there, that's when people especially with myself, I see a crowd killer and I'm just like, gotta get them out of here.
Is that what you call it? Is a crowd killer? Is it? If someone just purposely does it like that?
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times, like recently, and it's just been primary goal is I'll go up that person, just push them out. It's just like, okay, I hope that sent the message of don't do what you were doing, because we don't need that in here. All of a sudden that person comes back in, 2 or 3 more people will come and join. It's like, now we're going to send the message even clearer. We will push you even further into the crowd. It's like, no. Get the hell out of here. If you're going to be doing the karate boy shit, go.
What mentality have you got to go in to do that? It's like, you have a band date that want to fight an entire mosh pit. You ain't gonna win, you. No matter what you do.
It's been crazy just like seeing like Kubla Khan and Knocked Loose. It was like I was expecting that stuff to happen, and it did, but it was more of like the most respectable crowd killing I've ever seen, where it was people were going crazy, but all of a sudden I saw a couple people like they were going like doing like the slam dance stuff. They're coming a couple of swings, and all of a sudden like we're about to come up close to someone's face, and they would pull away right away. It's just like this is the most aware kind of like crazy stuff I think I've ever seen, but it was kind of expected for a show like that. But if you're gonna go like use just any like use it August Burns Red for or Kill Switch Engage. Crowd killers, nah, we're not taking that. But you want to go and just go shoulder to shoulder with someone, bring it on.
Yeah. I think only that one guy I've had a bad experience with it was when that guy headbutted me at Slayer. That was it. I think don't really get him. I haven't really seen him over here. You get the odd idiot, obviously you get him everywhere, but it's like I wouldn't like it without stuff. I'd be stopping the show, stopping it straight away.
Yeah, probably it's probably the only time you're ever going to see that guy because he probably was there just for Slayer for anything. And now that Slayer ended pretty much ended back in 2019 with their final shows, it was I don't think you're going to have that guy coming up to you at a show going fucking Slayer.
Oh, you will. They don't die. They don't die till they die. Do you know what I mean? You're a Slayer fan, you're hardcore. You ain't going to stop. You ain't going to stop you.
But the thing is, are you going to see that guy at a show anytime soon?
No, sorry, yeah. He's probably like you don't know COVID treated him.
That's true. So you never know. Hopefully he didn't get brought down from COVID.
Hopefully he's dead.
No. We're not hoping for that. We're just hoping that he doesn't headbutt people in the crowd randomly.
Hopefully COVID brought him down. I was like, okay now.
Yeah, but I'll put it this way, probably from just talking about stuff, probably tonight I'm probably going to end up taking like a headbutt from somewhere for the show I'm going to. Probably someone's going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to go, what the hell, man? And just fall backwards.
I'm one of those, I just stand at the back now. I got too old for that shit.
I'll say, I've been in pits before where I've been concussed and it's just like, I got to pull out and all of a sudden just like, okay, catch your breath. Are you bad? Is it good? If I can still go, I'm still going. Like, I've gone through injury before. I'll go through whatever I can do just to keep going. I've been sick before in those pits, just like, oh, God, I don't think I can do this. All of a sudden, the music comes up. It's like, all right, we're doing this. Music gives me life.
I went to a Ferran Semo and the Illegals in Bristol a couple of years ago, and they started playing, now you're going to hate that, they started playing Pantera songs. I lost my shit, and I did not realise how old I was. I could not fucking breathe. I was like, if Pantera played that, I'd be fucking dead. I'm too old to go in the pits and stuff now. Way too old for it.
He's 65, by the way.
65.
You're 70.
All right, 72.
You just need to do some more cardio, man. They'll get you back up for, another song or two.
You're too lazy, you don't do anything.
I fucking run on the spot in that drum kit for 4 hours when we practice, you know that? Fucking hell. And I walk my dogs every day.
Well, I'll put it this way, Scott. All that matters is all that matters is when you guys go up on stage, you're giving it your all, you're giving all the energy possible, and you're having a blast. And the concept of being tired, it's like a little kid. It's like being tired. They don't know what that is. They just keep going. If you can emulate that energy and have it while you're on stage and create that live setting. Shit, us in the pit, we're going to be like, we can't stop because they're having too much fun. We're now having too much fun. It feels like we're 3 years old again, running around, having the time of our lives because, some kid got a new football or something. We can't stop playing football for 10 hours.
Well, it's like all the other guys. You got Motley Crue and all the old guys. Lemmy, perfect example. He did it till he died, literally. He didn't tell anyone he had cancer because he loved it that much. He just did it till he died because it does something to you when you play it. And when you're on stage, everything goes. You're on stage, that's it. And it's adrenaline. I mean, it is a drug, especially when you get the crowds are going mental. And it is a drug, and it does keep you youthful, doesn't it?
Hey man, anything to keep that positive energy flowing, that's pretty much all that matters. And that's why so many of us, so many bands I talk to love the music that they make. I mean, every band loves the music they make, but have such a passion for it that it's just infectious. So many people that I know that go to shows all the time, it's because it's what makes them happy. Myself, this is what makes me happy. Going to shows, talking to bands, being in mosh pits, doing these podcasts. So that's something that music has given all of us. And it's kept us happy. It's kept us feeling just fantastic. It's, kept us feeling youthful at times too. We're not getting rid of that. We're not giving that up.
Well, music, it does everything. You imagine watching a film without music? music is everywhere. Do you know what I mean? It moves everywhere.
It was music in films before there was talking as well.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It was no there. It was on there. So
Yeah,
it
was all just a bunch of people playing the pianos, going doo 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 doo.
Yeah.
And seeing like Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton just like do something silly in a silent movie. That was pretty much the whole entire thing. But yeah, those silent film might have never gotten its start, because of the silent era. But can you imagine if there was like no sound and all of a sudden people just watching stuff and there was no music to it? No one would have wanted to go. It would have been just the most dull experience possible.
I think it's one Quentin Tarantino film. There's no music in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
What was that? The Crazy. What is it? Is it Crazy 8 or Crazy 6 or something?
The Hateful Eight?
Hateful Eight. No, it won't be that one then. Oh shit, I don't know. But it's strange watching it. Until you finish watching it, it's like there was no music. Not even on the radio in the car. Nothing. Just that intense.
Yeah, or it's completely different. Like you go back to a different Tarantino movie, like Django Unchained, where all of a sudden Django's like going on that murderous rampage in the plantation house. There's no music whatsoever. All of a sudden, it's like people break in, and all of a sudden, I think it was like a DMX track just comes on out of nowhere. A Tupac track comes out of nowhere. It's like, what the? Okay, like I'll take that.
Is that what I missed that? Is that what came on?
Yeah. It's all of a sudden like there's just a giant shootout in the house, and all of a sudden like something gets shot, and all of a sudden like people break in, and all of a sudden I think it's a Tupac track just comes on out of nowhere, and it's just absolutely insane. You see Jamie Foxx just kicking ass. It just changed up the whole vibe of the whole. The intensity of the movie is still there. The intensity of the scene is still there, but you go from this like super intense battle, like gunfire shootout, to just this cool like slow motion montage of Jamie Foxx just like gun wielding like he's John Wick.
Fucking hell, yeah. That is such a good film. I have to watch that again. Such a good film that is. One of the best ones I've watched.
Oh, absolutely. That or just like, and then go to the previous one before Django Unchained with Inglourious Bastards. That one too. Just
it's 3 hours long, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's worth it. 3 hours long. Just like there's times where it's all of a sudden it's kind of more of that lighthearted thing, kind of more fun. But all of a sudden, every time Christoph Waltz comes in as Hans Landa, it's just like there's just this like this weird intimidating factor that just washes over the whole entire movie.
Fucking that one, yeah.
And again, that one wouldn't be nearly as powerful if it wasn't for the music that was behind it either.
Well, I said, music, it just creates everything, doesn't it? If you didn't have music, there's no. Well, I think what's the point if there's no music? There's no point in anything.
You'd be used to not having music.
Right.
We would have to get used to it. We would have to get used to it, but without music, life would be nowhere near as fun.
No, that's right.
It might be better.
Nah.
It's so dark.
We might not have to stress of being in a band then.
but then coming for you specifically, if there was no music, there would be no Kill Switch Engage.
Yeah, true.
There'd be no We Struck Gold.
There'd be no We Struck Gold. There'd be no. What would I do? I'd be the most boring guy in the world if that was the case. I'd be like SpongeBob in the episode where it becomes normal. Just go, hi, how are you? Lovely weather we're having today. I would be that guy without music, and that just scares me.
Yeah, fuck that. Imagine being deaf.
Oh god.
Oh.
At least you can feel the vibrations.
No, you're shagging nothing. My mate used to live next door to two deaf people, and he said the sex was just the weirdest sound. You don't know what you do.
Are you gonna edit this out?
Oh fuck no! This is hysterical.
Oh fuck!
Imagine having a really bad market going.
I'll say this: if I'm not gonna edit out the fact that potentially putting a GoPro on my head and just making sure I turn it off before I go to the bathroom, and then no, we're just letting this flow because that's where the funny stuff happens. And of course, like I always like to keep that stuff in there too because all of a sudden people listen to it. It's like. Now you get to know the band a little more. You get to know the humor a little bit more. You get to have a laugh at, and of course, now there's another positive, outlook, a positive experience to, connect with the band because they made you laugh.
That's it. You're on with that, won't we? Yeah, we've got to keep it PG to some extent. My mum might be watching this.
Disclaimer: when we start, all of a sudden, disclaimer: when we start talking about, not being able to hear, just turn it off for like a minute.
Yeah,
you're fine.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, as we bring this podcast to its conclusion, one thing I would like to do is give you guys a chance to say whatever you want to say, plug whatever you want to plug, promote whatever you want to promote at the end of the podcast. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Everyone look at you.
I'm on the spot.
So I guess by the time you're watching this, our track Momentum will be out. Our EP will be out. So definitely check those two things out. We're also probably be on tour at this point. So if you're in the UK, then try and catch us in a city near you. And then another tour coming up in September. So definitely keep an eye out. Stay tuned.
Share our stuff and posts every time. And buy our merchandise.
Please.
Buy our stuff. We need to eat.
Perfectly said. Buy their stuff. They need to eat. I mean, you don't want them to go hungry now, do you?
No, I need chicken and rice. I need to get these guns up.
Exactly. All right, now it's time for me to close this podcast out with three very specific things. First things first, yes, We Struck Gold has the brand new EP called Feel Nothing that'll be out by the time this podcast releases, along with all the songs that are on it. So you're going to want to go and listen to it. You're going to want to go and enjoy it. You're going to want to watch the music videos. You're going to want to, buy it, download it, all that kind of stuff. You're going to also want to follow them along with them on social media because, hell, there's probably going to be some funny stuff in there. Potentially Scott getting headbutted by some crazy guy going fucking Slayer because, well, that'd just be another funny video to make to see that happen and see what the reaction would be. And you're going to want to just keep in touch with them, keep tabs on them, and potentially see them live if you're in the UK in June and in September as well. So, and also buy the merch because they got to eat. Now, instead of having to look all this stuff up yourself and be like, oh, I'm going to have to search all this stuff up myself. Why do I have to do all the work? No. Let me do all the work for you. So go to the description of this podcast. See where it says Find We Struck Gold online. There will be labels for their socials, YouTube, where you can stream the music, buy the music, download the music, where you can find them on tour, where you can buy their merch, along with the associated links as well. So all you have to do is click and you're there. I'm doing all the work for you. All you have to do is click and then click share, click subscribe, click and listen. It's that simple. I'm doing all the work. I'm taking all the convenience for you. Putting it all in there. You got no excuse now. No excuse. So go do it.
Advert ever.
Yeah.
We got to get a hold of you to do some adverts for us, dude.
Well, trust me. When all of a sudden, once you start seeing, when I start putting the video together or everything together for the description, everything, and put together the Find We Struck Gold online, you'll see me just start liking all the bands pages and stuff and subscribing to all the stuff as well. So all of a sudden you'll be like, who's this Chord Progression Podcast thing that's us up? It's just Kevin. So you need to do some weird, wacky kind of promotional stuff. Boom. Got the contact right there. Plus, I think you guys got my email already, so there's that too.
Thanks, man.
Oh, you're very welcome. Now time for number 2. Now, guys, whenever I have bands on the podcast that I've absolutely enjoyed having on the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise to them to not only, show that I continue to want to support the band, but also to make sure that that does happen as well. So this happens pretty much every time I have a band on the podcast because I enjoy having pretty much every band on the podcast. That's been a streak that's been going on for over 300 episodes at this point. You guys are continuing this streak for me. So my promise to you guys is this. It's not an if. If implies this might not happen, which fuck that. This is when. When implies this will happen. We just don't know the date or time yet. So when I get to see you guys perform live for the first time, my promise to all 5 of you guys is this. And I feel like this is going to kill me, but I'll do this. The first suicide shot is on me.
Done.
Done.
And I will do one with you guys, and you'll probably see me, turn into Sloth from the Goonies,
It'll only be me and you, probably. You probably won't do it. It'll be just me and him, but I'm up for that.
On stage.
On stage, yeah.
All right, well, that would probably top throwing cupcakes into the crowd on stage, so we'll do it. It'll have to be that one will have to be over in the UK to be who's the dumb American guy that's doing this on stage? All of a sudden it's well, that happened.
Want to tell the kids?
Oh, that'd be the one to tell the grandkids.
Yeah, responsible drinking is we have to tell people that responsible drinking.
No, here's what we'll do. Do the suicide shot on stage, and then give me 2 cans of beer. And I'm gonna go all Stone Cold Steve Austin, just clash them together, drink them.
Fuck yeah.
And then try and hold on all that liquor in the mosh pit and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So now, guys, as we come to this Conclusion, number three. Number three is I cannot say goodbye on this podcast, you guys. I can't do it for a couple of reasons. One, I made a promise to you guys, and I aim to keep that promise. So this can't be the last time I see you. Plus, this was a hell of a lot of fun. I don't want this to be the only time I've heard you guys in the podcast because, again, it's a hell of a lot of fun. Would love to have you guys back on in the future. So can this be goodbye? Nah. This is going to be see you later.
Yeah, man.
Well, folks, that's my interview with the guys from We Struck Gold. So I want to thank Omar, Jesse, Scott, Atron, and Mitch for being on the podcast. Now, you can find Feel Nothing on all, platforms right now that you listen to music, stream music. So go and check it out. Their brand new EP, again, Feel Nothing. You can also find We Struck Gold on all different social media platforms. You can, find them playing shows in June. If, they're still playing one the last day of June, to go check it out in the UK. And they're also playing shows in September as well. So be sure to go and check those out if you can. Be a part of that mood, be a part of the vibe, be a part of the energy, be a part of the family. That is the metal community, and We Struck Gold. And if you just want to join them online, if you're from, not from the UK area, go to the description of the podcast under Find We Struck Gold online. All the links for everything from their music, their socials, their merch, their shows, everything is down there. So go give them a follow, like, share, subscribe, listen, stream, buy, download, anything you can. Also, make sure you're following the Chord Progression Podcast as well. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. So go and follow us there for all crazy, fun, kooky, crazy social content, including live streams every single Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central. Well, I should say every single Wednesday night because normally Wednesday nights, but sometimes we got podcasts. Sometimes we're on vacation. Sometimes, we can't make it on Wednesday nights. So then we push them to Tuesdays. But we do one every single week when we are able to, which is like 49 or 50 weeks out of the year. So on top of that, make sure you'll subscribe to the Chord Progression Podcast. You can watch the podcast on YouTube, or you can listen to Spotify, Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon for your podcast, so you can listen on Alexa if you wanted to. If you are already subscribed to the podcast, a gigantic thank you goes out to you for supporting the podcast, because you support this because we're going to keep going. We're not stopping. The train is rolling down the tracks. It's an unstoppable force, and we will break through any immovable objects. We got through the pandemic with this thing. Come on, we can break through anything. So if you are not subscribing, you're going to subscribe to this one. Welcome to the family. Thank you very much for subscribing. Glad to have you here. If you are listening to the podcast, you're like, I like this podcast, but it's just not one I want to subscribe to. First off, could you please reconsider? If not, thank you for stopping by the podcast. You're always welcome here to come on back. We got a lot of episodes for you coming up, and they're already up that you may really enjoy. So go and do that. All links to the podcast in the description as well. Now, I also want to give a big shout out once again to the support for this podcast. Again, remember, Manscaped, as the Manscaped Daily News says, we save balls. Yes, their performance pack is available now. You can go get it, and I recommend it because you want to do the best care for your boys down there with the Lawnmower 4.0. There it goes. The Weed Whacker, the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, and, of course, the Shave Mats. I mean, take a look at that. They also have the boxers in there as well. I say the boxer briefs, which very supportive. Not going to show you those because they're in the wash right now. Yes, I wear them. I mean, why wouldn't I? So, yeah. Performance Pack 4.0. Get 20% off on your order of really anything from Manscaped.com and free worldwide shipping when you use the code CPP at checkout. Link description of the podcast below, along with the promo code. Also, remember to go get your tickets for When We Were Hungry Music Festival happening out in Vegas, October 20th to 21st. Come join me in the pit. Pancakes in the pit. We're turning memes into dreams, baby. Tickets on sale now. Link description of the podcast below. Thank you, gentlemen, from We Struck Gold. Can't wait to do that suicide shot with you on stage. Yes, it's a drink. It's a drink, YouTube. It's a drink. So on that note, that's going to be for me today, guys. Thank you for watching us to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of the big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah!